Thank you for taking the time to find out more about the work of the ThriveAbility Foundation. Our mission is to accelerate current efforts towards sustainability so that we have a thriving future. In the next few minutes, we will tell you how we do that, as well as how you can get involved to work with us and accelerate our progress on the ThriveAbility Journey. Today, sustainability suffers from a limiting paradigm. The great acceleration that has created unprecedented wealth and progress since the Industrial Revolution now overtaxes our ecological and social systems so that business as usual and perpetual growth continue. While most companies recognize this threat, their response is just not up to the challenge. Most corporate sustainability initiatives focus on incremental change, doing things less bad, while the ecological, social, and economic problems we face today require transformative change. Unfortunately, this keeps us from meeting our targets toward creating a more sustainable world. What exactly does it mean to be a sustainable business? For many, it simply means to stop harming the planet. In other words, the goal is to reduce the negative impacts of the business to zero in an ideal world. While the 50 Zeronauts, the companies at the forefront of such initiatives, are making some progress, they're finding it difficult, and it is a long, hard journey. These companies are getting somewhere towards limiting their negative impacts, but the ambition to become a truly regenerative business is limited to a very few brave leaders indeed. What we need is a way to inspire transformative change and breakthroughs in all organizations. After 40 years of significant efforts toward reducing our negative footprint on this planet, we are now using 1.5 planets. And that footprint is getting bigger every year, despite all our efforts. We now need to move beyond the confines of the limiting mindsets we're stuck in with current sustainability and shareholder value-added approaches to a mindset where we focus on maximizing human thrival, the lowest unit of footprint possible. To do this, we must move beyond current incremental approaches to sustainability. We need a fundamental shift in the way companies and directors decide, act, and organize themselves. In short, we must turn our thinking upside down. Turning our thinking upside down means we can better understand how to motivate all stakeholders to close the sustainability gap through an alignment of innovative efforts. Today, all companies are operating outside the carrying capacities of our common capitals, natural, social, and others. To close this gap, all organizations must use only their fair and proportionate share of these vital capitals. Collectively, all of commerce must respect the planetary boundaries of our shared natural capital resources while enhancing the foundations of our social capital resources. This can help us go from where we are today toward where we need to be in a few decades' time. But in order to close the sustainability gap effectively, we have to close two other key gaps, which today are largely ignored by sustainability theorists and practitioners. These are the organizational and cultural gaps, what we might also call a leadership gap. While many companies are visionary leaders in sustainability, they represent a tiny percentage of the total number of organizations on our planet today. How can we accelerate organizations on their journey towards sustainability and thrivability? The first step is to create a map of the journey, from reluctant compliance through sustainability and net positive toward thrivable organizations. A thrivable organization not only produces zero harmful impacts on any of the six capitals, but also generates high levels of thrival in its key stakeholder groups. Due to their sheer size, larger organizations will move incrementally from one stage to the next. Thrival is measured by how well individual stakeholders are thriving using survey and census metrics from a number of global suppliers of this information. ThriveAbility is then measured as the ratio of thrival creation divided by the footprint associated with those activities. This highlights the metrics and milestones required for companies to go from compliance through to sustainability to net positive and ultimately ThriveAbility. To recap, if we want to close the sustainability gap, we need to close the organizational gap. And to do that, we need to close the cultural and leadership gap that exists in our organizations. What does this cultural and leadership gap look like? Well, firstly, it's created by the fact that leadership in most large organizations lacks the ability to understand and manage complexity adequately. In our ever more turbulent, fast-moving world, we find that many of the leaders that are promoted to top positions are experts and achievers who've demonstrated great competence in previous roles, but they lack the complex system thinking capacities to be successful in managing a large organization across multiple geographies and longer time horizons. Despite their good intentions, many of these leaders do not fully appreciate the complexity of the way in which nature, society, and business are interconnected. This represents a leadership development challenge on a grand scale, a challenge in which the transformation of values, thinking, and action leads to a large-scale collaboration and breakthroughs that enhance our individual and collective thriving. Not only that, we need to align our strategic thinking in the way in which our business builds on its unique capabilities in its ecosystem with how we design our products and services as part of a robust, thrivable business design. Organizations also need to develop the kinds of leaders needed to drive the innovation processes that will create the breakthroughs we so badly need. Finally, if we're not consciously managing our organizational values within our management processes and putting the right people in the right places to bring those hotspots of potential alive, we will fail to meet even most the rudimentary of the sustainability metrics, let alone create thrivability. The ThriveAbility Journey and ThriveAbility Index have been created to help organizations close the sustainability, organizational, and cultural gaps in an accelerated way. There are 4 important benefits to this. Firstly, they provide an integrated map and a set of metrics for the ThriveAbility journey from less bad through sustainable and net positive to thrivable. Secondly, they enable users of the journey to map and with the index to track progress in closing the 3 gaps. Thirdly, they enable investors to select those companies with the greatest potential for thrivability and true value creation. Fourthly, both the ThriveAbility Journey and the Index are a global public good, protected by the ThriveAbility Foundation's unique governance structure. In turn, this ensures that all co-created intellectual capital is Creative Commons and available to all those who wish to use these programs. This also ensures there is an educational outreach program at the core of all ThriveAbility activities that engages multiple stakeholders in collaborative ways. And finally, this also helps corporates, investors, and NGOs play their own unique and exciting role in this process. As we travel on the ThriveAbility journey, we also generate the data and insights that ultimately provide us with a ThriveAbility Index that helps decision makers and allocators of funds make more thrivable decisions. To do so, we must be able to measure and generate the difference between less bad incremental approaches and be able to appreciate that this leads to sustainability in the sense of net positive, and beyond that, to a truly thriving ecology, economy, and society. This ever-expanding set of deltas demonstrates the way in which the ThriveAbility approach takes us from less bad to genuinely sustainable to a thriving future, one decision and one organization at a time. The approaches, methods, and tools of the ThriveAbility Journey are designed to close the sustainability, organizational, and cultural leadership gaps in powerful and systematic ways. Organizations on the ThriveAbility program are able to position themselves along the 6 stages of the ThriveAbility Journey using the metrics generated along the 3 axes of the ThriveAbility cube. This also enables each company and industry to be more accurately positioned in the ThriveAbility Index. The sum of individual indices forms the basic prompter for the cube. The cube can also be used for benchmarking of companies within an industry, one industry against another industry, within regions in a country, and within countries and continents. It can also be used to advise on investment programs in certain industries, technologies, countries, or regions. There are 6 key outcomes that the ThriveAbility approach and index are designed to generate in order to address the sustainability, organizational, and sociocultural gaps. Firstly, we aim to accelerate the emergence of a circular, regenerative economy that ensures long-term resource planning for intergenerational equity, thereby continuously regenerating and evolving our natural and manufactured capitals. Secondly, we aim to accelerate the emergence of a transparent and level global playing field that delivers true value through strategic decision-making processes that scale up to thrivable industry sectors and indicators. This ensures that we harness the full potential of our human genius for innovation and the intellectual and financial capitals that this generates. Finally, we aim to accelerate the development of holistic education approaches that develop complex system thinking and leadership within governance systems aligned to inclusive stakeholder well-being. This all ensures that we develop and evolve our human and social capital to create a thriving world in which we're each engaged in work and relationships that give our lives deeper meaning and a sense of real accomplishment. In this way, we can ensure that future generations experience an Earthrise rather than the sun setting on our species and its magnificent potential. Clearly, such an ambitious agenda requires not isolated but collective action. You can help in 3 powerful ways. Firstly, all good work requires sustainable financing, either directly or through networking. Secondly, high-profile partners who implement the ThriveAbility assessment themselves will lead by example, modeling for others to follow. Thirdly, all successful movements are fueled by grassroots groundswells of support that spread the word on important work. So please go out there and tell others. The role of foundations in a co-funding process together with corporations is for us the key to establishing a global public good. Our experience shows that a foundation with the ambition of the ThriveAbility Foundation needs a solidly financed governance and staffing backbone. Corporate partners prefer to cover direct project costs linked to their direct involvement in the project. Matching funding from foundations and corporations is therefore our goal. We believe that it is beneficial to spread the role of foundation funding between 3 foundation partners in the beginning, with an option to invite more foundations as the project progresses. Foundations will also benefit from an additional tool to assess their own effectiveness through the use of the ThriveAbility Index methodology. While foundations will fund the global public good aspects of the ThriveAbility program, it would not succeed without the wholehearted support and active engagement of those corporations leading the charge toward being net positively sustainable instead of just less bad. We're inviting 10 leading corporations to be our pilot partners for the ThriveAbility program, to demonstrate the breakthroughs that are possible in their sector, and to begin to engage other key players in their business ecosystem. This growing number of corporations will ultimately help generate the benchmarks that will lead to a ThriveAbility index for their sector. And of course, the ThriveAbility Delta would not be possible without the transformative change agents that make up our ThriveAbility Delta partners. ThriveAbility Delta partners comprise a thriving network of multi-stakeholder, multi-skilled, and multicultural change agents capable of supporting the ThriveAbility assessments and educational outreach programs embedded in the work we're doing with our corporate pilot partners. Delta partners are key to demonstrate the power of this approach to generate breakthroughs along innovation pathways that can close the three gaps we need to co-create a thriving world for all by 2050. The ThriveAbility core team is a group of world-class professionals with extensive experience in strategy, innovation, transformation, sustainability, and international development. Our headquarters in Perpignan, France, and London host a charitable foundation and a 501c3, as well as representative offices in Amsterdam, Germany, and North America. We are all committed to making the ThriveAbility approach and index a reality at scale together with you. Thank you for your time and attention. If you are a foundation or charitable donor, a potential corporate pilot partner or Delta partner, please get in touch with us for an overview business plan at our email address, contact@thriveability.zone. Or otherwise, you can visit our website, which is www.thriveability.zone.